All right, everyone, we are back. It's another episode of the RomaPress podcast. We hope you are doing well. As always, thank you to all of our wonderful patrons. If you would like to join, patreon.com/RomaPress. And as always, video version of the podcast available on YouTube at youtube.com/at ISRomaPress. And let me apologize in advance for my voice. And you know what? I completely just shafted it and giving a shout out to our newest patron, Andy, and that is Martinas Verbusaitis. So thank you, Martinas, for your support, and I am apologetic for neglecting to thank you 20 seconds before. My sincerest apologies. I'll blame it on the COVID that I'm battling now currently, which, Andy, when it comes to COVID stuff, that's how I feel anytime. Basically, it feels like a virus. Anytime I see Roma and the FIGC or Aya involved in a storyline, because that's where we find ourselves at now. Naturally, this is about to happen as Roma enter undoubtedly the most difficult run of fixtures that they have thus far this season. I would argue, even this is the is it too dramatic to say do or die? Because I
Yeah,
mean,
it's our classic make or break period of the season.
yeah,
I think we've agreed upon that.
yeah. I mean, well, let's put it up on the screen now to show everybody. So this is what we have coming up, and there really is no way to sugarcoat this, to soften the blow, so to speak. I mean, this is without question the most difficult, most important part of the season. And I won't even say to date, because I think you could easily make the case that this is where we will know one way or another if Roma qualify for Champions League, if Jose Mourinho is going to remain. I mean, again, not to put too fine a point on this, but this is the season. This is it. So this weekend, the 10th of December, we have Roma hosting Fiorentina. Then the following weekend, going away to the Dallara to face Bologna. Hopefully, if any of you are in attendance, that the plumbing, as I mentioned the one time I was there, the plumbing was out of order. So anybody who attends, my thoughts are with you. Then after that, hosting Napoli, then away to Torino to face Juve, home to Atalanta, which takes us to the 7th of January, and then away to San Siro to face Milan, and that takes us to the 14th of January. So that is, at least from the standpoint of Serie A, that is Roma's next month. And again, this is where we will know, and this is where we will find out. And there is so much on the line in this part. I know this is going to be one of those things where we people listen to it, maybe they roll their eyes because they've heard you and I say this 2,000 times in the number of years we have been doing this, where we say this point is most important, that point is most important. But if you just look at this group of fixtures, I mean, it speaks for itself. Nearly every single one of these teams is in the running for either a Champions League place or Europe. So when we talk about Roma and the direct matches, as we like to call them in Italian, this is it.
I
This
mean,
is it.
hell, even Bologna is almost like a direct match given how they've
It
been doing
is.
this season. At this point, they're also a direct competitor for Europe.
They are undoubtedly a direct rival for a place. Now, going into this is where things stand as far as the table goes. So, Inter currently top, 35 points. Juve second at 33. Milan third with 29. Roma, they are technically fourth, yeah, because they have
They are.
24 now. Yes, yeah. Roma, they had the better goal difference. Roma fourth with 24 points. Napoli behind them, 24 points as well. Fiorentina 23, Bologna 22, Atalanta 20 points. So every single one of these teams is within 4 points of a Champions League place at worst. At worst, I, I, I'm shocked that Fiorentina is still that high because I feel like every single time I watch them, they are either
Yeah, yeah. They're
very
incredibly
high or
bad
very low.
or surprisingly good. They don't have a version in between.
No, no. So, uh, I mean, this speaks for itself. How that ties into the thing with Jose Mourinho. Um, there's this. This is total Serie A, by the way. You don't see this happening in the Premier League, where you have the refereeing bodies of the FA like arguing and they're singling him out. Yeah,
You mean Mourinho? They're singling out
yeah. Yeah, I'm
Mourinho.
sorry. Sorry, I had to cough up
It's
my
fine.
knife there.
It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, they are singling out Jose Mourinho, and again, it's annoying. Something you usually only see in this country to this degree. Somebody from Germany can tell me if they do this in the Bundesliga, but Serie A, we know the town the guy who is about to referee the match comes from. This is how far the rabbit hole goes when it comes to every single weekend in Serie
Yeah,
A
but
in
but that's that's
regards to the
Serie A in
referees.
general. That sort of everybody
That's
knows
true.
the curriculum, the bio. Everybody knows the family history. There's like even people who are are nerdy enough to be able to find like childhood pictures of some of these referees. Remember Abisso with his Milan jersey on, when he had that terrible episode. It was against Inter a few
Yes,
years ago.
and of course, I mean, we can't
That's like
mention
that's
social media
yeah.
without
Now
our
the
good
power of
friend
social
Jack
media, everything becomes like
O'Malley.
remember the great Jack O'Malley. Remember Jack O'Malley?
That
Unfortunately, he's no longer here, man. I don't
no,
know.
well,
I don't know
that
where he
was
is.
something that your Italian uncle does on Facebook
Yeah,
to
yeah,
give
yeah. Those
himself a
conspiracy theories of
fake profile name.
yeah. That was, but that
I,
was,
I'm
but that's the thing with Serie A is I think this is not even a Mourinho problem. It's a really a big Serie A problem. The,
It's a
the
country
one thing we
problem.
may take issue with is that the fact that now they came out in the open to try and sort of suppress what Mourinho said, whereas other
Yes,
people such as Sarri, Gasperini, even Massimiliano Allegri in the past said similar things and never faced any repercussions. But this is definitely a problem between Serie A referees and teams in general. There's just a really bad feeling. I don't, and this is not doing them any favors whatsoever. It's a shame because we're gonna go into these next few matches with the risk of not having Mourinho on the sideline. Now again, it's the same old debate of does that make a difference? Well, I think it does make a difference in the end. We've
I think
seen
it
him
does.
miss a number of important games since he's been here. He's been trying to be on his best behavior, and that's why I still find it very, very odd that he just sort of went out in the open like that on Saturday prior to the Sassuolo match, because that's not something he'd been doing for a long time, to just come out in the open and call out a referee, specifically mention him by name and say that he's not experienced enough, not stable enough to handle a game on his own as the main referee. That is, I mean, if you ask me, is that problematic? I say it's problematic, but I also find it even more problematic how the league is handling all these things. Not even in Mourinho's case, but just in general, there's a really lack of consistency and there is a lack of openness about the situation with the referees, and that forces you to then go into these next games with this awareness that hey, from one game to the next one you may lose Mourinho for who knows how long, 2 games, 3 games, 1 game. I mean, um but Roma are so, they, I think that it's so important to get this stretch right, also just in terms of are they ready, like can they, no distractions, no outside noise. Like, can you focus? Can you focus on the task at hand? That is the question with this stretch of games. It's not even Can you stay fit? Can you play well? It's can you be focused? Can you not let the opponent overwhelm you? Because if you let one of these teams score on you, they're gonna go on a run. You're not gonna come back. Okay, like that's it's simple as that. This is not gonna be Sassuolo. It's not gonna be Lecce. It's not gonna be Monza. It's gonna be Fiorentina, Bologna, Napoli, Juve, Atalanta, Milan. Okay, that's the essence of what awaits us. It's teams that will make you pay if you're not laser focused. And I want to know if Mourinho's potential absence can cause the team to suffer a disruption in focus, because we know how easily they let emotions get the best of them.
100%. And just going back quickly to what you said about the inconsistency with just the way the rules are applied with certain managers. My opinion completely changed because I thought, okay, the FIGC, I won't attribute malice that can be easily attributed to stupidity or ignorance. The second Brian Cristante received that ban for the blasphemy, how many was that? 2019,
Yeah,
2020?
yeah, that was. I think it
Infamous.
was Fonseca's second year, so
Yes,
2020.
yes. My entire outlook on the application of the rules by the
Yeah,
Fijishi
and of what on
completely changed.
and of what gets heard and what doesn't get heard. Like, they specifically, in that case, they specifically went to a microphone that was located near Bologna's goal.
Yes.
Like, they
Well,
actually picked it up. How many times hadn't they picked up the same things said by other players in similar situations? That's the question.
I mean, if you listen, you can find plenty of examples on YouTube of Gigi Buffon going up to a referee and what did Cristante say? Didn't he say he said bastard if I'm not mistaken, yeah? Or did he say no, I know what
I
he said.
don't remember. Listen, it wasn't.
It
It
starts with
wasn't
a
anything good. It wasn't anything good, but it definitely was the kind of thing that if you heard Buffon say, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's another
I think
Tuesday morning for Buffon."
yeah,
So but that applies to the discussion of coaches, what they say during, before, after games, because it's they say all kinds of things. Now it's it Serie A failed to contain this topic. They failed to address in time. Now relations are between referees and clubs are at an all-time low, that these things are being said week in, week out. Like, Sarri says it maybe 10 times a year that he doesn't like this guy, he doesn't like that guy is shit, that guy is not competent enough. Gasperini does the same thing. Gasperini, being the gentleman that he is, he loves to go out in his post-match comments and just say that somebody is blatantly incompetent. So
very quickly, I just found the ruling and on the sporting judge of the Fijishi. The thing he said, it starts with a P. What the first word starts with a P, and then the second begins with an M. And that
okay,
second
yeah,
word for
cool. That's
anybody who
that's one
doesn't
of the
speak
cool ones.
Italian,
Yeah, sure.
the second word in that saying, it's there's a famous female
Yeah.
singer artist
Yes.
that you can derive
Yes.
you can make reference to it with that
Yeah,
word.
one of the
So, by the
greatest
way,
pop
that gets said
pop
about
pop singers of all time.
that gets said about 2 to 3 dozen times
Oh, for sure.
within a match. Sometimes even by the exact same guy. So you couldn't have put it better. I mean, Sarri, man, forget about like bad words. Uh, it was when he was with Napoli. Remember when
No,
he
but
had was
yeah, okay, but even a few weeks ago, he named the referee and said this
yes,
guy doesn't have the goods to
right.
referee on this level. So and so by this I want to just conclude it, because for me it's so stupid that we have to again, go over this. It becomes a whole event. Tomorrow Roma have to present their defense of Mourinho is being interrogated. I don't even want to imagine how these conversations go. Like, what did you say on Saturday? Like, you have it on
Definitely
tape.
brings me back to the
It's
days,
written.
man.
There's a transcript. It's all out on the paper. So you know exactly what he said. He's gonna say exactly what he said. Uh, but to me, it's not. This is not. It doesn't mean that what Mourinho said is right. I don't know if what coaches say go around saying, if that is right, if that is correct, if that helps anything. But it's weird how there is a lack of consistency on the part of an organization that you should look after these relations.
Does that not bring you back to the good old days of l'Avvocato Antonio Conte, not the manager, alongside Baldissoni, uh,
Absolutely. Antonio Conte, who
going
was
together to
undefeated. He was undefeated for like 6, 7 years,
the
and he's
king?
been defeated every single time since. He's lost every single case that Roma have tried to appeal in like the last 4 years.
So, oh my God, I could barely talk. Well, so he and I follow each other on Twitter, and I made a joking tweet saying something along the lines of that, and he liked it, and I think, well, not I think, he sent
Well,
me a
he's
nice
aware
message
of it.
after.
I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, I mean,
he's
every
the one
case.
who goes and represents the club, so he knows if he loses or wins.
Well, too. I mean, it's you can find these things. I mean, if you go to the FIGC's website, it takes you 2 seconds. And by the way, they provide the entire transcript of the proceedings, so it's not as if I am breaking it. But I had to bring him up just because I felt bad when I did that. I couldn't agree with you more though when it comes to this thing about it does matter. Uh, Some will say this has happened in the patron group chat about, well, faulty out there. It's fine. What's the difference? Jose Mourinho is preparing them during the week, but I am sorry. It makes a huge difference. Um, and if they are without him, okay, for any period of time, I am sorry. They need to go out there. This is where I would love to see Dan Friedkin come down from the tower for the very first time, because again, the only clip we have of him talking, there's two. There's one on YouTube of him at some film festival. The second one is him saying in a very, maybe he had the tickle in his throat. He was talking to our good friend Filippo Bianforan. The way he
Yeah,
says "good
literally, yeah,
morning" or
yeah. He had that nasal voice,
yeah,
nasal southern voice.
yeah, he sounded like a high
And he's a
pitched.
big man, he's a big man. So when he
He
when he when
is,
he says that, he really sounds like he's coming from like some underworld from Austin, Texas, or something.
yeah, yeah. I mean, he does, unless I'm mistaken. I mean, he does not have that Texas draw, that accent.
The
Yeah,
drawl. Yeah,
I just said draw.
Sean,
Ugh,
what's happening? Is the
that's what I
COVID
said, man. No,
affecting your brain?
I don't have a first language. I just have 2 seconds.
Yeah, I know the struggle. There is no first language.
So
It's just other languages that you've learned.
okay, so I'm just going to assume they're going to have him because if you apply it in the
That would
way,
be a power move to have Dan Friedkin on the sidelines, though. You know,
well, or to have the guy come
Move
down and say,
on
"Listen,
next to Bruno Conti.
I have stood out there for 3 years now. I've not said a fucking word."
Yeah, that would be awesome. That'd be so awesome.
That would be unbelievable hearing him do it for the first time. And again, I'd be curious to hear what he
With his
sounds like.
sunglasses, are you kidding me? Like that's amazing. And to see him like
I mean that
maybe like take over in coaching duties, do the Bruno
well,
Conti appearance off the bench, sort of like I'm the man up in this piece.
yeah, for anybody who knows, there's that famous GIF of him that I have to take credit for. That one of him that I recorded while I was at the Olimpico. They have screens for you. They pan to him and he goes,
Yeah.
which is one
Yeah.
of the best reactions ever. I still
Yeah,
have the
yeah,
original
it's
on my
awesome.
phone.
It's awesome. Yeah, he
Um,
couldn't believe what he was seeing.
it's it's fantastic. But I mean, I just cannot assume that the FIGC would be stupid enough to open this can of worms. But who knows? Who knows with them? But ahead of this match with Fiorentina, this is match one of again a
Yeah,
very very difficult run.
yeah.
So if we just take let's take the next five. So again, the next five: Fiorentina home, Bologna away, Napoli home, Juve away, Atalanta home. Those are the next five league fixtures of Roma. What is unacceptable record in that time? You can even add to it the
I would
Milan
say
one.
winning everything that you play at home. Use the Olimpico to your strength.
Mm,
Make it your strength. There is no reason
mm.
as to why you should lose any of those encounters at home. Like Fiorentina,
I couldn't agree more.
Napoli, you have to win those at home. It's just
Yes.
it's simple math. Like you suck at playing away. Okay, we know that, and you know it. The team is fully aware of it. They celebrated Sassuolo as if they had won the Scudetto because of the importance of it in the grand scheme of things. But your home is your home. You know it. You feed off that energy. You feed off the strength of it. So to me, the acceptable results would be, okay, playing at the Juventus Stadium. We know how it is. We know our track record there. So yeah, abandon all hope, ye who enter, right? So like
Yeah.
that's okay, fine. But playing Napoli, this Napoli at home in a packed Olimpico, come on now. Playing Fiorentina at home in a packed Olimpico, this Fiorentina that was almost put down by Parma playing with 20-year-old kids. Come on now.
Yes.
So Roma again, they as always, they have to lean into what they know, what they're good at. I was mentioning it today in today's live stream. Like think if things some of things are going well for you, if some things are working for you, don't change them. Like if Sardar
Yes.
Azmoun is working for you off the bench, if he's really giving you what you want in those 30, 35 minutes, maybe now 45 minutes playing a whole second half, who knows, keep playing him that way. Don't start him. Like lean into your strengths. If El Shaarawy is providing you with the answers in the second half, put him on the bench. That
Yeah. I
like
mean, if Chris
they have
Smalling
to
is
recognize because Mourinho doesn't seem to really have like a steady grasp still on this Roma's strength. So he's sort of
mm,
experimenting, and it's fine. It's working. Like those comebacks have been made possible because he's been twisting and turning within that bench and coming up with these solutions. Okay, that's cool. But if something's working for you, don't change it now because now things can really backfire. If you make a mistake and it blows up in your face, the consequences of it, amplified by every single game that we're now approaching, is almost like a must win, could be very serious when you look at what awaits us, from week to week. Now you cannot be like, oh, well, we had a tough game this time, but next week we can make up for it by playing a smaller side. No, it's not going to be the
no,
case.
you're completely correct in that. And this weekend too, if you look at the rest of the calendar, this is why Roma need to win this against Fiorentina. I mean, this is just there is no alternative. You have to win. Juve playing Napoli, Atalanta playing Milan, Lazio, they have to go away to Verona. Not going to be an easy one for them. So this is one of those, again, another opportunity. You have Milan, Atalanta, and then again Napoli, Juve. I mean, somebody's going to drop points. This is one of those times. Anytime your direct rivals for those top places are going to drop points, you are guaranteed coming into today. Somebody in this race with you is going to drop points. You have to collect. You have to make every single one of them pay. And again, you are in this position because you fumbled the beginning of the season so badly. By the way, how much more shit does that look? That first month of Roma. I mean, again, I know I sound like an old man just saying the same things over and
Sure,
over
but
and
you'd
over
be
and
you'd
over
be
again.
you'd be on top of Milan right now. Like if you
Yes,
had just like
yes,
6 points, you're on top of Milan. So, and it's a whole different story. And we're talking about a different
Yes.
Roma, and we're talking about different stakes at this moment in time. And we can be more lenient, we can be more open for, but no, that's a different reality. That's a reality that is not there anymore. This is it. This is the world that Roma have created for themselves, where it's expected of them to come up with results week in, week out, because you have too much to lose. Too much to lose. There is Mourinho's future at stake. There's Roma's entire future at stake. There is Paulo Dybala's future at the club. Like, the
Romelu Lukaku.
ramifications of this period in
Can you keep the
time
guy?
are
There's so
huge,
much.
and that's why it's important to, if some things are working for you, keep using them the way you do. Like, don't risk anything. Obviously, if, for example, say Pelotti is sitting on his ass all day long, all week long, I mean, that's weird. He should not be in that position. He should be contributing, sure, but don't change things that have been working for you, that have been giving you those guarantees that you've had so few of to speak of. Like, if if Sardar Azmoun, who came on against the Sassuolo and at a certain moment was playing as a midfielder, is working for you, use him. Don't use Renato Sanchez, who's a big question mark. Like,
Yes.
if somebody is giving you the answers you want, this is the time to keep relying on that and not trying to come up with a whole different scenario, because that can work in the Europa League, can work in Coppa Italia when you want to throw things around, see what sticks, what doesn't. But now is the time for Roma to get things right. It all starts obviously with attitude and with that focus that we spoke at the beginning of the episode. Is, I need to see a Roma that can keep its focus from the first minute until the very last. Because, once again, this is not going to be the time nor place where you can afford to concede a goal, concede two goals, and then romanticize about the possibility of getting back into the game by going on a
Yes.
scoring run, because that may not necessarily happen. And you will be facing teams that, if they see any open space, they'll hurt you. So, if you have a problem with Leandro Paredes and the lack of coverage in front of defense, tell Cristante not to roam around so much. Put an extra body in there. Do something in order to fix what hasn't worked for you. But the few things that have been a guarantee, that have consistently given you the results you wanted, stick to them. Stick to them. That's it.
Yeah,
That's the mantra.
absolutely.
Because Roma are in no position. They don't have enough guarantees to make up for whatever it is that we failed to do in the first month. You're not going to compensate for it now. It's not like if you do something right now, it compensates. No, that the month of September, month of October is gone now. That's in the past. You have to make do with what you have now. You have to face the games that you face now. You have to win those games. Now it's expected of you.
Yeah, I mean, I am looking back at the historical results of Roma at home to Fiorentina. At least in the last, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 seasons, they have won 4 of the 5 fixtures at
Yeah,
home.
it's a
So, of
pretty good
course,
record. Yeah, it's a
yeah.
pretty good record.
So, I mean, again, this is one you have to, even if we want to consider the match against Sassuolo, the true beginning of this slog through this month, you need to continue on this right foot. We talked about it before. You're going to have guys that are fatigued. We are going to have guys that are going to need to play 90 minutes every single time, multiple times per week. But you know what? As you just said, Roma, they don't have many guarantees. They do not have guys that you can pencil into the formation, pencil into the lineup, and have a complete and total reassurance you're going to get something from them. So I 100% agree with
No,
you.
and that starts with, say, for example, somebody like Stefan El Shaarawy, who's well established at the
Yes.
club, and but it also applies to somebody like Sardar Azmoun, who you have he's giving you what you want off the bench. Why? Why would you try and include him now into the starting lineup like so many people want Mourinho to do? No, no, no. It's working for you. It's working for you. So few things are working for you. So many things have taken time to express themselves. So much time was needed to form a semi-solid backline with Diego Llorente, Evan Dica, slotting into the defense in place of Chris Smalling. Now is not the time. Now is the time for reassurances. Roma must stick to them.
Absolutely. Okay, we're going to leave it there. I've barely made it through this half an hour, but we will be back after the match against Fiorentina. It's we're going to be busy here. It's going to be a very difficult run of fixtures here. We will keep our fingers crossed because we all know what is on. If we don't keep our fingers crossed, what is on the negative end of this? I'm not prepared to do that just before the new year. So think positively. Glass, as always, is half full. So we will chat with you in a few days. Until then, ciao.
Ciao.